Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. I'm not sure how many of you saw this exchange between a Deputy Secretary of Defense and Jon Stewart. It's actually a really interesting exchange. Regardless of what you think of Jon Stewart, regardless of whether you agree or disagree with his politics, it's very difficult to watch this from any side of the political spectrum in the United States and not feel anger towards this condescending government employee that is talking like you're too stupid to understand how corruption or waste is involved when you fail an audit with an over $800 billion budget. And this is one of the things that may be frustrating to you as a citizen that gives 30 to 40 to 50% of your money away every single year to a government that literally can't tell you what they did with it. So I'm just going to play the clip.
An audit is not...
but they are.
Okay, so you need to explain to me, do you understand what an audit does and the degree to which it is linked to the question that you're asking?
I believe so.
Okay, go ahead. Give me your explanation.
No, I don't mind learning. So what I would suggest is that the audit that they have in the military doesn't really look at whether or not there's efficacy. It's just whether they got delivered the thing that they ordered. And
that is any audit. That is any audit. That is true.
But generally, those audits aren't $400 billion for Raytheon and $1.7 trillion for a plane that doesn't seem to be doing. Like, there is a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse within a system.
Audits and waste, fraud, and abuse are not the same thing. So let's decompose these pieces.
Then please educate me on
sure.
What
so an audit is
difference
exactly what you just described,
yes.
which is, do I know what was delivered to which place?
Right.
The ability to pass an audit or the fact that the DoD has not passed an audit is not suggestive of waste, fraud, and abuse. That is completely false right there. So
what is
now
it
it's a question of, it's suggestive that we don't have an accurate inventory that we can pull up of what we have where. That is not the same as saying we can't do that because waste, fraud, and abuse has occurred.
So in my world,
yeah,
that's waste.
How is that waste?
If I give you $1 billion and you can't tell me what happened to it, that to me is wasteful. That means you are not responsible. But if you can't tell me where it went, then what am I supposed to think? And when there has been reporting, I mean, this is not, look, I'm not saying this is on you and that you caused this, but I think it's a tough argument to
I'm pretty
make
sure
that
I didn't cause it.
an $850 billion budget to an organization that can't pass an audit and tell you where that money went. Like, I think most people would consider that somewhere in the realm of waste, fraud, or abuse, because they would wonder why that money isn't well accounted for. And especially when they see food insecurity on military bases, and they see...
You want to talk about that? Because that's a good... we should be talking... I mean,
well,
I'm trying to understand where you're trying to go, other than the dollars, which really bother you.
I think it doesn't really bother me. I think it's all connected.
Okay.
I think
tell
me
that story. Tell me how you're thinking about that.
When I see a State Department get a certain amount of money and a military budget be 10 times that, and I see a struggle within government to get people like more basic services, and then that department that got that, I mean, we got out of 20 years of war and the Pentagon got a $50 billion raise. Like, that's shocking to me. Now, I may not understand exactly the ins and outs and the incredible magic of an audit, but I'm a human being who lives on the earth and can't figure out how $850 billion to a department means that the rank and file still have to be on food stamps. Like, to me, that's fucking corruption.
Now, this is something that's personally frustrating to me, just because I am not a bookkeeper. To be clear, I'm not even that good at this, but it's part of my job as a business owner. When I buy stuff, I have this little thing in QuickBooks that I can use where I can see through my expenses, and I will click on I have all the different expense types over here. I can click on one of them. I can then click on the vendor or the specific expense. I can see what it was for, and it even have a system that automatically attaches the email that I got for confirmation of the order so I could see exactly what that was for. Not just I gave $400 to this vendor. Here's exactly why I gave $400 to this vendor. I also have a system in my inventory manager in my CRM system for managing customer tickets, where when I buy something, I put the invoice in there, and after I put the invoice of the purchase order in there, but I have this really cool thing where once the order comes in, I can put barcodes on every single one of the parts. So let's say I bought like 10 batteries from this one company. What I can do after I buy 10 batteries from that company is I can put a sticker on each one so that if that customer comes back in the future, even if I've bought from 20 different battery vendors this year, I know exactly where your battery came from, so I know exactly which vendor to yell and scream at when the battery died 6 or 8 months in. And the thing is, this is a pain in the ass. I'll be honest with you. Have a system where I tell everybody here, listen, every time you buy something, it's got to be with this email. Then taking all those emails, turning them into PDFs, and then uploading them all into QuickBooks, and then only for QuickBooks to half of the time not be able to auto-match it with the transaction, so I have to do it manually. It's a bit of a pain in the ass, but it's something that I just have to do because I'm expected to do that as a business owner. If I get audited, it is very important that I have all of this stuff so that instead of the government trying to take almost $1 million from me, they say, okay, never mind, your error rate's actually 0.1%. We'll back off. It's very important to have this type of stuff, and I think the thing that's aggravating to your average American is the fact that there seems to be two different sets of rules. That for us, we are expected to have every single T crossed and I dotted, but if they just so happen to not have any idea what they did with billions upon billions of dollars, well, you know, it's not ideal, but it's not waste, and surely it's not corruption. And the manner within which she is constantly deflecting or shaming or trying to make him seem like he's being ridiculous, or you're just being melodramatic, you just have an agenda, you really seem to care about the dollars. Yes, I do, because you take them from me without my consent. So at the very least, if you're going to do that, can you show me where they went? It's not that unreasonable. Again, you may say, well, Lewis, this is stupid. I mean, the military obviously has way more going on than you do. It's way more difficult. Yes, it's a bigger sized organization for sure, but they have a lot more money than I do. They're not doing this stuff for 10 or 20 minutes a day in between everything else with eye bags and a receding hairline by the time they're in their late 20s as a result of trying to do too many things with too little money. They have a very, very, very large amount of money that they can use to hire people to deal with this on a 24/7 basis where that is their only job. And if us as small business owners are expected to dot every I and cross every T for what we do, regardless of whether we have the financial resources to hire somebody to do that full time, to the point that we can have a 0.1% error rate when we get audited, then I think you should too. And I don't think you should push back that much when somebody is, again, if I was on that stage and I was trying to make that point, I would have not been able to get even close to Jon Stewart's level of calm. So massive props and respect to him for that. That's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something. I'm very curious. Let me know down below. What do you think of this exchange? And I'm very curious for the people that actually agree with her over Jon Stewart. Why? Why? I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.